Copilot. So let me move quickly on. If you have any question, today I am alone, so I wouldn't be monitoring my chat so frequently, but you are free. Please post your question in the chat. I would say that better option is to keep questions for the end of the session. And if you still feel like urge that I really need to ask, come out of mute, ask question, and I think that will should work for everybody. This is a very exciting era right now with the Gen AI everywhere. And if we looked at how a developer is working, um, with the GitHub, we call everybody who is working as a developer. So we have most of the time we have the meetings, brainstorming, we're writing something, then there are some problems, looking on the internet, asking our colleagues, hey, can you help me on that one? There is a lot of distractions everywhere, and at GitHub, we focus on DevX, development experience. Like Fahajan also mentioned about DevOps, MLOps, and other technologies that everybody heard of it. But at GitHub, we do believe that the platform that we are provide you and kind of a next level of experience that boost your productivity, happiness of the developer. The developer does not have to now focus on repetitive tasks, writing, copying, searching, fixing errors in a way like they do. Um, GitHub Copilot is doing a lot for you, which really helps for the developer to remain in flow. They can write, they can productive, they can think, they can be focused on really innovative tasks. They can really spend their time what really matters for them. And that's a huge success that not only increase the productivity, performance, but also the retention rate of the employees. We have many statistics from different companies, and at the GitHub, we also did some research. We will share those numbers by the end of this presentation. But let me quickly emphasize why GitHub. Why GitHub Copilot? There are other tools as well, but look at the synergy of the three main companies. OpenAI, the leading company in LLMs. There is no competition. There is none compared to OpenAI, the way they are working on the generative artificial intelligence. Microsoft, with their huge resources, is unbeatable. And the GitHub, having the world's largest repositories, code source repositories. So if you look at the synergy of these three companies, how they are working together, we are in a very unique position to offer you a tool that is ultimately no match in the market. The way we work, we take care of your data, we take care of your privacy. No one can do that. So you are in a very right place with the GitHub Copilot. What is GitHub Copilot? What it is doing? How it can really help me? So GitHub Copilot is a assistive coding tool. It can generate code from your comments, from your. It can generate for the boilerplate codes, repetitive tasks, and don't forget, you are the pilot. It's still only a co-pilot. It's not going to replace anyone. It is there to boost your work, to give you more power on your work. If you're not satisfied the code that has been generated, it can show you alternatives. That means that you are still responsible. You have to make a conscious decision which code are you accepting to be the part of your project. GitHub Copilot code completion is available for different IDEs, including Visual Studio Code, VS Code, JetBrains product suite, and some other one. Eclipse is, I know many people are asking us, is still in work in progress. I do hope by November or sometimes we'll be releasing official version for the Eclipse. Please do not install the unofficial version of GitHub. One point I really always try to explain to my customers, your code is very important. Your proprietary code is very important for us. If you try to use ChatGPT or other plugins which are not certified by GitHub, so if you're part of a GitHub Copilot business or enterprise, we take control of your code, means that we are responsible for the security of your code. In case of any exploitation or something, GitHub is responsible for that one. But if you are using any unofficial version, especially any open plugin of ChatGPT to for the code completion or something, be aware that your code is being used for training. That means you are violating your company's privacy. Please be cautious. Never ever install any plugin into your IDEs as you type, as you allow them, your code being transferred to them, and that will be used for for the training of the models. And in the next generation, that code, which has some very proprietary information, will be displayed to some other customers. So be sure that you don't do that. Let us understand that how this technology works. When we say that we keep your data private, we don't take your code. What does it mean? How actually GitHub works? So as soon as you start writing something, GitHub starts collecting the context, your file name, your comments, your open files in this IDE. That all helps together to build a context. With your question or your comments, that context is being transferred to intelligence layer of GitHub. At that intelligence proxy layer, GitHub remove any PII data. I mean, it's already not collecting any, but by chance, if that is a part of your code or comments, we remove them. We try at this point to make a very sophisticated prompt for our LLM. This LLM of execute the prompt, get some suggestions back to GitHub proxy where we make sure the quality, the suggestions that's being generated are really worth enough to be delivered back to the developer. And once you accepted that one or rejected the suggestion, we do delete the complete prompt. That means that the context that we collected being transferred to the GitHub, we don't keep anything. Your code, your context, your comments, nothing. Everything has gone, means we do not keep your data. Another very important feature is GitHub Copilot chat. Just think of an extreme programming, pair programming, your friends, your colleagues sitting beside you, more knowledgeable for any on any topic around programming or around your project, and you have some questions as you progress, as you write your code, it will help you. You can ask in a very natural way about some coding best practices. Uh, Explain code. You find something which is very hard to understand, legacy code is gone. I mean, the developer who wrote that code is gone, and he didn't even was sensible enough to put some documents or comments over there. You can use Copilot Chat to explain that code. Unit testing, code fixes, everything is possible with this Copilot Chat. Copilot Chat is available for Visual Studio Code, VS Code, and JetBrains. Other are coming, a work in progress. One main point is also that look and feel on different IDEs will differ. So please be sure that if you are using the VS Code, it will differ from the JetBrains. So don't get panic if you don't get the same kind of look and feel. There are some prompts available on these IDs in the chat already. With the forward slash, you can see explain, fix, test, new, simplify, optimize, fix some codes. So all these are already there to help you to get the answer faster. Also, at the same time, there are some agents, workspace, terminal, VS Code. We will see every one of them shortly in the demo. But just to give you an understanding that agents are context aware, means what is happening on the terminal will be transferred as a context when you say add terminal. Your workspace, your project context will be transferred as a context when you say add workspace. They are variables. For example, if you mention some specific selection of the code, file name, for example, if you are talking about a certain file, so you can definitely, with the hash sign, select them, and that should be passed to this LLM. So enough talking. I'm not very fond of anyways presentation. I'm not a good presenter. I know. Let's just move to the demo. And I don't want to go away. So basically, I have this repository, this one, and what I'm doing right now, I have also indexed, leave it for a while, and I'm using GitHub Code Spaces. GitHub Code Spaces is a very helping tool, I would say, especially for me, for my presentations, to my work, for simple tasks. just now assume that I am a developer and I have been asked to add a search by title functionality in this repository on this project. So I have started my workspace. I hope it's started again. Let me check. So basically, the first thing when you start an IDE, it's always very important that you install GitHub Copilot. So I will come up here for the extensions. You can search for Copilot. So you can see that GitHub Copilot. Be sure that you are selecting the blue tick one, which is a certified GitHub Copilot. You need to install GitHub Copilot. I will see the pre-release version, also this one. So with that one, you are sure that you have the right tool available. So this is also started now. Perfect. How will you make it sure that GitHub Copilot is installed? If you click on the right side in the back, this icon here, which is GitHub status ready, and it is yes, it is. And also, if you click on GitHub Copilot at this point, a second. So at very start, it will give you the name. Hey, Zeeshan, welcome, and I'm your friend, whatever. And this is now, I have my repository opened in a VS Code. I'm totally new this project. I have no idea how this project is working, how I can run it, what the structure of this project is. And I do believe that Copilot can help me on this one. So let me ask with the chat. And I'm going to use workspace as a indicator. How can I run this project? I mean, I just want to see that a running version of this project. And right now, I do not have any idea that how this project works and what it is all about. Let me make it big. So now you can see that as I ask Copilot, it is telling me that I need to install some dependencies which are missing right now, run npm install. It is telling me environment about variables that need to be set. It is telling me about Docker, it's optional, run the application. And I was looking for this command, perfect, bravo, npm start. That is something I need to know. And then it's telling me that on the localhost 3000, this endpoint will be available. So just let me quickly go to this point and npm start. It is very common that once we start a project, we get so many errors around dependencies missing, configurations is missing, and how can I really make something to help me? What the options I have right now? Open the browser, search for this error, understand why this happened, and then look for the solution for that one. That is the option that I have used to do, but now with the help of Copilot, I can pass this one. So this is my error. Right click, Copilot, explain this. Now you will see that Copilot is not only telling me what is gone wrong, why this is necessary, but also how I can solve this problem. So it is telling me npm install express command is needed to run on your this project to resolve this particular error. You can see there are three icons as I hover my mouse over them. Copy, I can copy this command. I can insert at the cursor point, or I can ask insert into terminal. I just click that one. Very easy. It has copied and this one, and it has installed. This is a very important feature, so that's why I would like to repeat it again. So now when I say npm start, we can see there is an error on the terminal. We have seen that I can ask Copilot chats the question. We will use it again and again. I will during our demo. On the terminal, as soon as some error happens, I can always go, select the error, right click, Copilot, please explain. Copilot will not only explain what's going on, but also will give me the commands that can resolve those problems. And copy paste is quite easy. You don't have to worry about this one. Just click, it is on the console. I know already that one, so what I have did, so there are three or four more missing. Just to save our time, I'm going to copy paste this command that will install all the missing libraries. So now I hope when I say npm start, it will start my server and server port started on 3000. Perfect. And let me check. If it's there. Yes, it is. And you can see that I do get JSON response back of my books. And if I try to search against title, that was TR. So I do not have that functionality available. This is a very common use flow, workflow that in a current project, new features to add. There are some bugs that need to be fixed. There are some enhancements that need to be made. So now I have been working on this project. I have successfully started the project, and now I can see that how Copilot can help me to add this new functionality. So getting back to my environment, working environment here. Um, I do understand that I need to add an API endpoint for title. So let me ask Copilot, how can I add API endpoint with that search book by title? So now you can see that as I have asked this question to the Copilot, it is giving me an answer. It is telling me what needs to be done, how I can update the route, what is needed. It's also giving me the code. But somehow I am feeling lost here because this is a generic information. I can really find this information anywhere. This is not what I was looking. I look for more kind of a personalized information around for my project. So now I will ask again the same question, but with workspace. So that it should take my um, workspace context and to answer me for my question.
Zeeshan, just very shortly, there is a lag. So, just to let you know that we can able to see this commands a little bit late. So just to share this information with you. So
Okay.
we can
I
able
think
to
I will
see this, but there is a lag.
Okay, because I told you that my internet is, I'm using this mobile. So
Yeah,
I
that's
will now.
that's
I will.
fine. Maybe if you can just if you move a little bit slow, so probably we can then pick it up.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
So
thank
now
you.
what I'm going to do, let me turn off my video. That should at least save some bandwidth. So workspace, how can I search by book title API call? With this workspace, what is happening that it is transferring my context to the LLM, and now what do hope that it should give me a real answer that is really relevant for me for my project. And that is exactly I was looking right now. One thing I would say that it is probabilistic. What I'm doing right now is live. I have no idea what the answer will be. So please bear with me if sometimes there is a hallucination also. There was sometimes I do need to improve my prompts. So that is something I just want to say that this is not a recorded one. We are doing live demo right now. So now let's analyze what it has done for us. So it is to add an API endpoint for searching books by title. You can modify. So it is giving me another file where I need to add that one. It is also giving me the endpoint that what I need to add there. And also, if you do not have a good by title method in your database interface, you will need to implement it. Assuming you are using the class defined in the book.js, so it is telling me the complete whole part of the story. That's very important. Again, look, this is not about the API call. It is about your work complete. So GitHub Copilot do understand where are you coming from and where you want to be. It is all guessing from the context. It has analyzed the work folder. There are database files. There is a API file. So it has connected the dots and telling us you not only need to have an API call, but you also need to add those methods into the database. Perfect. So what I will go, I click on this one. It has opened the file for me. You can see this one. And what I will do now, remove this to do. So this is the third way that you can interact with the Copilot. We have seen how we can ask question to the chat. We will keep on doing that one without accelerators, with some variables and accelerators. And now I can write a comment, specify an API to get books by title provided by the user request. So by just putting an enter here, it has generated the code for me. And by selecting a tab, I have accepted that code. Looks good to me, and I'm happy with this one. It is taking one, but I do feel like I do must have an error. I'm missing error functionality here. There is no error handling in this code generated. So what I can do, I'm using Mac right now. So with this one, I can Command I that will open a new window. Ask Copilot or type slash for commands. I will just say Copilot adds error handling. So now Copilot realizes, if you can see on your screen that we have two different colors. One is the light green, another is a bit darker. This is a kind of a get diff, which is telling you that this is a new code, try and catch, and the other one was the code already existed. So I'm going exactly, I was looking that if something not there, error happens, so my server should not go down, but it should return internal server error, accept. I'm good with it. Yes, looks good to me. I'm happy with my work here. And the next item is to go and fix in the database. So I have opened the PostgreSQL file, and as soon as I will click here, most of the time, what happens that when we come on at this point, GitHub Copilot already analyzes our system and it knows that why we are in the database file. For some reason, right now, it's not showing me gets booked by title automatically, but it is intelligent enough to analyze and understand your workflow. So what happens normally if I come here, as soon as I'm open this file, it will show me that you are here to implement gets booked by title. So what I'm going to do implements get all books, noops, search book by title function. So it has also helped me to complete that one. And now I can see that it has completed the function for me. From API call to the database call, we are just finished with that one. And now if I look at the query and in the driving seat, this is my responsibility to make it sure that what the code has been generated, it's good enough. What I can see right now that it is doing in the SQL query, it is an exact match. That is not what I'm looking for. I do like to have lowercase as well as fuzzy matching so that it can match any string in between. There are multiple ways. Again, I'm going to select this one. Let me show you again and select, or I can GitHub Copilot. Selection means take exactly that line of code, change SQL query to match, ignore case. So now you can see that it has taken only that line and now it is explaining me that modify the SQL query to ignore case and match any part. You can use the I like operator and wrap the search term with percentage sign. So not only providing me the solution, but also explaining me. That is a very important part that it is keep on educating you for the functionality. Why new operator? What does it mean? So it means that it's not making you dumb. It's actually making you more intelligent, more aware of the new functionality. And just think as we keep on updating our LLMs, it will bring on new functionality, new looping function mechanisms and searching algorithms. And that can also explain you during your programming. That will also increase your knowledge and skill set. I have two options here. I can copy and paste, or I can say insert at the cursor position, which I will use right now. So by clicking this one, it has replaced my SQL query here. Looks very good to me now. I'm happy with this one. And something is again missing is error handling. If I have written that in my comment here, that I need a function with error handling, and then it would have generated at the very first place. So what I'm going to do now, again, selecting this command I, add error handling and message if no book found. So again, this is, you can see it's very intuitive, very intuitive. It has generated the code. It has given us if result.length is 0. It is iterating over for each, which is a rather expensive process. If we look from Java and other perspective from the programming, if we do want to, I mean, there is a room for optimization as I see it right now. So what I'm going to do, ask Copilot selection, because I don't want to go through all the project. I just want to consider the function which I have written right now, optimize it. So the provided code can be optimized by reducing the number of lines, and for the reasons, as we can see exactly, it has removed that for each loop and has replaced with the mapping functionality, which is a new kind of algorithmic approach. Perfect. I am happy with the result, and looks quite good to me. I'm very happy with the results so far. So what is missing is still the documentation. As a developer, if we don't include right documentation, I don't feel that my work is done. But it is very boring and looking at how we can really write something. So maybe Copilot can help me with that one also. I'm going to select again Command I, Flash command, and doc. This is a very amazing that it has analyzed that one, what this function is doing, what these variables are doing, what is to be returned, and the error message. So if no books are found, an error occurs while retrieving the book. So it's not a very generic kind of documentation. It's really your specific to your code that you have written right now. Looks all very good to me. I'm very happy with my results, and it's good. So what we have seen so far, that you can interact with the GitHub Copilot in multiple ways. You can ask GitHub Copilot chat question, treat it as your friend. It will not only give you a solution, but it will explain you why and how you can really improve something. You can use command I or inline coding function to ask Copilot during your in line of your code that will replace your code, but it will not give you an explanation of anything, but it will complete the task for you. You can write comments, your thoughts. Again, that is the main objective, that you think. It's not like we are a dummy person and we just coder, we are not a monkey. So our objective is that we should think, we should be focused more on the productivity side, what our functions should do. Try to explain it right in your comments, and the GitHub Copilot will take care of that one and will generate the respective code for you. We have seen that one, it is done. I'm very happy so far. The database call is done, and there is, let me see, and with this one is good, everything is good. Another thing, if I open this book.js file, I can ask Copilot to explain this file to me. I mean, this is a model, and I'm not coming from a model-driven programming. I don't know why this file is here. So let me ask Copilot, explain. So Copilot has taken the uh, open file context here, that we are in the book file. It knows book.js file, and now it is explaining me what this file is doing. By explaining, it will not only analyze the file for its functionality, but it will also look if there is kind of anomalies found in this file, and there is a glitch. So perfect. You can see, however, there is small inconsistency in the code. The getter for the title property attempts to return this dot title, but the constructor initializes a property named title without the underscore prefix. If I look this one, the way it educates me, the explanation, the associated risk with that one. Sometimes we do SQL injection. We are taking the parameters from the user and directly passing it without any scrutinizing to the database calls, APIs in SQL. It will warn you. It will sometimes it will generate the code which will have SQL injection. But again, we are the drivers. We need to know. We need to ask Copilot if there is a kind of inconsistency, explain it. You can ask Copilot to fix it. For example, I can say Copilot fix. So now it will again take this file and give me a new file. You can see that it has changed the title now with the underscore. It will fix that file for us, the problem it has found. So it's not only telling me, that, hey, you have done something wrong. It is telling me what is wrong and then how you can correct it. And then it provides a solution to you as well. So that's also, I mean, it's a very good part. Um, Last but not least, the functionality as a developer, what we always try to focus on is to generate some test cases. We can see here in this one that we have added some new functionality into the database. A Postgres file, we have added a new gets book by title. Sorry. So can GitHub Copilot help me to generate any test case for this one so that I can be really sure that my file and my work is not only finished, but it is finished with all standards. So if I come back to the GitHub Copilot, I can use again, just let me reiterate again. I can ask Copilot chat. I can do come here with command I can say generate tests. So what will happen now? GitHub Copilot will generate the test cases for the methods here. I don't find this very intuitive because I'm not in that class. So what I'm going to do to ask Copilot chat, I will now use a new variable named file because I just want to use only this Postgres file, create test case, add two positive cases cases for each method on the data available in. I do remember there is a file that should have this database in it code. I think populate.sql file. Yes, in the file. Wait. So now you can see that as we are going through this one, it will not only generate something for us. Cancel. Cancel. So let me make it bigger so that you can see it again. So it has the create test case for the Postgres database class method gets book by title, get all books based on the data available in this file. We will follow this step. So it is going to explain you what it has done. Then it has shown you the file that needs to be required, get database, and it has generated everything. That was exactly I was looking. Even the data which I was given for my testing is also, you can see the part of my test case. So it's a very good way. Additionally, how can I do so? I will just go insert into new file because that file does not exist earlier. I just need to close this one so that I don't save it. And now I have this file. I can say control save, simply give the file name with it Postgres test.js file, and I am good with that one. So far, we have seen all the programming stuff, how GitHub Copilot can help us to foster our development. We are more productive. we are more secure, we feel more confident. But can GitHub Copilot also help me for the configurations files? For example, if I need to go for the Docker some things, so what I'm going to do, for example, close this one. There is another file, Docker file, and we can see that create a build container that is based on the Node version 18 and will install only our production dependencies. So if I just would like to, for the clarity, name it step one. The first step, create a production container that is Alpine Linux. And then second step is to export port 3000. So by just entering, I think now it is step one from 18, perfect, work architecture. By just entering tab, and you can see that it's all done. Isn't it amazing? This is a completely new era that we are experiencing right now. When we started our education and computer science as a field, there were languages, Visual Basic, C, C++, assembly, and then Java, then Kotlin. And I mean, if you look at right now, the need to learn a language is gone. You don't need to be a programmer that you know the syntax of something. GitHub Copilot will help you to write the Java code, but you need to think. You need to be a human now, really. I mean, you don't have to be a monkey coder, but you need to be a human, think logically in a way that makes the business better, faster in the market. So that is something which I would really love in the GitHub Copilot, the way it's working, it's helping us. I have now the Docker configuration file. Everything is cool. Even if I need to add my pipeline, I can ask GitHub Copilot, for example, add this events here, and it will help me to write for example, this pipeline completely. You can just copy and paste, for example, copy, write GitHub action that. So now you look at this one. Isn't this amazing that I just need to think what I want to do. I need to have my metrics. So it's going for node versions, actions, checkout. And if I look at this one, I mean, I'm very happy that in just less than 30 minutes, without having any knowledge on my project, I just checked out the repository. I asked GitHub Copilot to explain this project to me, install dependencies, configuration, add API method, add database call, optimize my code, add error handling, add my testing, and then also to create pipeline that can deploy my projects also. So this is all is amazing. I would say just keep try it, and I will now move to the my second part of my presentation just to keep us on the track timing perspective. I think the start I did talk about some numbers that how the statistics are working. At GitHub, we recruited 95 people, and 45 were given the GitHub Copilot license, and 50 didn't. From that, 78% was able to finish their project within 1 hour 11 minutes. The other party, which didn't use the GitHub Copilot, 70% success rate with the time 2 hours 41 minutes. It is a huge difference. And the developer felt more productive. They were happy because they don't have to write the repetitive code again and again. 87% said less mental effort on repetitive tasks. 74% focus more on satisfying work, and 73% says they are more in flow. Flow is where GitHub is really at its core. We have given a platform. GitHub is no longer a code repository. It has given a platform which keeps your developers in flow from very start, from project initiation documentation till your delivery. It is keeping you in loop, in flow, which is amazing. With this introduction of ChatGPT, a new field, a new skill set is being introduced, namely as prompt engineering. And what is a prompt? Prompt is that how you can communicate with the computer to generate some usable work for you. And GitHub is also using the GitHub Copilot prompt. And in the back scene, with your context, your coding questions, we create a prompt, a very refined prompt, and then we send it to our LLM. GitHub Copilot will only answer you regarding your repositories, regarding your programming questions. For example, you can ask about searching algorithms, why they are better. You can sorting algorithms, for example, it will give you, but if you ask why Imran Khan is in jail, it will not answer you because that is a more political questions, or who is the current prime minister or president of US will not answer you. But there is a trick. You can ask, give me an enum of all the presidents of USA from 1948 till now. Now it will give you an enumeration of all those. So you can always play some trick and tricks with this copilot to get an answer. Even GitHub doesn't want to give you that answer, but you can really get in a, I mean, you are smart enough to do that. Moving, there is during the presentation, I also mentioned it is probabilistic, it is not deterministic. What does it mean? Even I know what I am trying to do, sometimes I will not get that answer. The reason is the context, the way I'm asking. Sometimes things are very clear in my mind. I know how my project should look like, but if I am not able to communicate or I communicate it differently, I will get a different answer. Also, the environment, the open files, the file names, the project descriptions, the comments written, all plays a role. So it is probabilistic. You will get different answer. You might get different answer. You might get the same answer. Nobody knows. So some pattern, important terminologies, context, intent, clarity, and specificity means what you're trying to do. As a product manager also, you need to build the context, why we are doing this, how it is important for our business. So this is the context when you are starting something. This context also GitHub needs to give you a good answer, but in a programmatical perspective. What is your intent? How you want or your output to be? Be very clear what you are expecting from it. Be specific. For I will also give some examples. So some good programming practices are variable names, method signatures, naming conventions. Be very careful. Give the name that makes sense. That is a computer in the background. It does not know your mind. It does not know if you will not tell that one. So, for example, just look at this method before get Zoom attendees. It has list and written X. But after you ask Copilot to refactor it, it is not only giving, because from the method name get Zoom attendees, it gets an idea. It has refactored it with attendees and return attendees. So try to be very helpful for Copilot so that it can help you. How you can do that? So include a high level of description of your requirement at the top of your file. Write what you need to do, why this project. This will be a Java project that will have database layer, that will have my domain specific information. I will use that kind of technology, that kind of framework that will also help Copilot to generate complete boilerplate for you. Provide examples in your prompt to clarify expectations, and let me share my personal experience. I was given a task that we have 5 or 6 buckets, and in buckets there are some gift items, and then there are some participants, and I need to distribute those gifts of types to the participants. I was asked to do a fair distribution, that every participant should get one type of the gift, and if that has been finished, then I should be giving some extra to the other participants. That was in hell for me, to be honest. What I did, I created some 2 or 3 examples. I gave it to GitHub. This is my sample set. This is my number of participants, and this should end result should look like. And that was it. GitHub generated, Copilot generated the code that I was looking for. So by giving an example that how output should be, you are in very good position to get very good code from the GitHub Copilot. Keep file opens in your project folder that are relevant. Sometimes look at your inner source culture inside your company. You might have your own logging framework. You might have your own authentication authorization services available. You have your own audit service available that you need to include. Sometime database pooling services available. And as GitHub Copilot, we do not have any information on that one, but that doesn't mean we can't help you. We can help you, but if we have that context available, so if you open some files that are using those Java library files, Java projects, we will try to generate the code. We will try to match that code. The logging is necessary. We will try to include the same logging service that has been introduced in some other files. And last but not least, at first, you don't succeed, iterate, don't get panic, don't say it's bullshit. It's only a computer behind the scene. You just need to repeat yourself in a better way. Explain it like you're explaining to someone who does not have any idea about your project, how you will explain it. So, from that perspective, explain the things, operations that you want from GitHub Copilot, and you will be surprised the output, how it will help you. So, if you don't get answer very first time, don't panic, don't get frustrated, just give it another try, and then you will also learn how to prompt. And with the passage of time, GitHub Copilot, it's a very personalized experience. My GitHub Copilot for that particular session is completely different from Fahad Jan's Copilot for that particular session. Copilot will educate itself also so that it has more information. And as you work with him, it will give you more personalized answers. Just two things shortly that GitHub Copilot Business, there are three versions, GitHub free version and the business. With the business version, you get the code indemnity, means that your code is secure with us. It provides you code completion, GitHub Copilot chat in the IDE, content exclusion means that if you do not want some files to be generated, that sorry, that the Copilot should include for indexing or offer code completion in those particular files. Just think of some of the legacy code that you really don't want to touch. You really don't want Copilot to index that code. You can exclude that code. Also, some passwords files that are very important and you have some key information that you do not want Copilot to get access to that one, you can exclude those files. And Copilot in the CLI for the net, like, I don't know, I mean, at least I don't use CLI much often, but you can use GitHub Copilot in command interface. And GitHub Copilot in Enterprise is an amazing tool. It gives you amazing capabilities on github.com. So you can ask about the projects on the GitHub chat, knowledge base. It will index all your projects in the repositories and pull request summaries. Copilot knows about issues. So all this functionality will be available from github.com if you have the enterprise version. Let me show you also something shortly on this part. For example, this is my repository here, and I'm going to my pull request. I will just let me take this one. I will click on this my Copilot summary. Now the Copilot is analyzing my pull request, what has changed, and it will give me a very complete. The this pull request includes a minor update to the express dependency in the package and why it is what it's doing, it's there. So these kind of things are very important. And if you click on Copilot, you can ask, tell me about this repository, for example, just thing that I do not know about this project tree anymore. So it will, here's the information about the repository description, Copilot demo repository for Zeeshan, JavaScript code, HCL, Docker file, and there are some other prompts. This functionality is available if you have the GitHub Copilot Enterprise. And let me show you another very important, I think it's better if I show you best in a presentation mode. So this one. So this one is a technical preview, means it can change. It might not ship at all, but it is available on our. So this feature is already available as a tech preview. If you are on this one, you can ask for this one. IDE. I do not have to be a programmer. I can be a business user and I need this functionality. I have no idea how things work. I just get here and I will. So now you can see that with just asking Copilot, it is going to analyze everything in my project on github.com without opening any editor, nothing. It has generated what is already the status current. The API to search books by title is not implemented. And README says, but and the purpose is the API search books by title is implemented in api.js file. It should do that. And then it should do, for example, I can say I can also add some task here for that one, add call in database, Postgres, Postgres, generate plan, for example. Now, next step. So now it is giving me a complete plan that how can I do that stuff. It will do this one, and implement selected files. Now it is implementing those files for us. Isn't it amazing? A very new, I mean, it's very exciting. I mean, I'm very excited at least. Look at this one. I just had, I just told github.com that I need to add API and I am done. It has generated the code for me. And look at this one, the Postgres.js file. I add that manually. It is here, gets book by title. My functionality, API call, database call is here. Search by book title. It has added that one into the readme.file. And you see that it has said, okay, this is marked as done, completed. So if you look at this one, this is all amazing functionality from github.com, GitHub Copilot. And with that one, I think I'm over my time as well. So I will stop it here and I am open for any questions that you have. So I saw that on Rizvi said that about the unit test case, and I think I did that also. And if you didn't get it, see the recording. Otherwise, we can even repeat the session on that as well.
Okay, one question from my side. Can we control the model behind it? Which model it is using, GPT 3.5 or 4? Can we somehow control it, or it's a hidden thing from us?
So Rizwan, that is a black box for you, but GitHub Chat is using Chat GPT-4 version, so GPT-4, and GitHub code generation inline code is using GPT 3.5 proper version. So that and in later situations there will be more updates on that one. But I think if you realize that how much energy and the processing cost is involved, that is not possible for even huge organizations to have their own LLMs at that scale. And even for the Microsoft, for us, it is very hard to have such a huge data and indexing that one and providing this kind of suggestions. So we are using 3.5 Turbo for code completion, and GPT-4 is using for the chat.
Okay, sorry, one more question. If I compare it with Cursor, you would have heard about the Cursor AI. we can control the LLMs on our end, and we can set LLMs from multiple sources, not just OpenAI. So obviously, we cannot do that in it. So how we can compare it from if, for example, I am a fan of Cursor, how can you convince me that what is better in Copilot that is not there in Cursor?
So I think, Rizwan, you missed my very first two slides where I did talk about the synergies between these three companies. If you look at the market leaders, I mean, if you want to go to the substandard product, it's your choice. But if you are looking for some very good product with the Microsoft resources available for LLM trainings, the latest technology from OpenAI, and the GitHub hosting the largest open source repositories that we are training. On top of that one, we are introducing our own intelligence layer. We are not only providing you the code, but also we are taking the responsibility of your code that it is secure, it will not be transmitted, and if your code gets leaked, you can sue us. So that is a legal agreement between GitHub and you that the code that we are generating for you is for you and it will not get out. Another point is very important when you talk about some other GPTs, uh, their models. You need to make some comparisons, and I would say if you look at the industry standards right now, you will be surprised that around 80%, I mean, it's 2001 when we did the tech preview of GitHub Copilot, and right now from all major enterprises in the world are on the GitHub Copilot. There is a reason for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. For now, it's okay, but in future, no one can say which LLM will lead. So there should be some configuration that if we want to switch the LLMs. Anyways, let's move to the next question. You were talking about the context. Can we use multiple or selected file context? For example, in your example, it was very simple that we have repository in the same file everywhere. All the examples you have given, that only one file was involved. Is there any functionality that we can choose file of our choices that, for example, we have selected the repository, the entity file, and the object file of that object of that specifically, and then we give the query to Copilot to generate a new functionality based on multiple files. Is there any sort of file selection in Copilot?
So let me rephrase your question, or so that I can say that if I have understood you correctly. You're implying that if there is a way that we can have our context based on multiple files, so that the code that needs to be generated should be based on those multiple files. Is that what you're asking, right, Rizwan?
Exactly.
So in that case, I think I did mention many times in my presentation that you need to just open those files. So if you have opened those files, if you are in a project, um, those files context will be built on the GitHub intelligence layer for our prompt engineering. So what does it mean? That more files you have open in that project, that will give more context. And if you have the GitHub Enterprise version, where you can have on the repository on the github.com, there also it will build the complete knowledge base on all available files. And you just saw if on the github.com, asked to add new functionality, it automatically done everywhere possible. So that's, I think, if you have more context available for github.com, open those files, it will automatically include those files in its code generation.
Okay, so in short, all the open file are added in the index and will be sent to LLM, only all the open file, right?
Not the files will be sent, the context will be generated based on those open files. So we do not transfer
Okay, makes
any
sense.
proprietary code.
Okay.
There's a question, Zeeshan, in the chat from Wakas. Uh, if you can read it out, or if you want me to read it out.
Exactly. So the question is, sometimes the code generated seems fine on the first look, but it has some bug. It becomes the responsibility of the programmer to fix it. A novice programmer will not be able to catch it. How can GitHub Copilot help in this? So very good question, and I think that is our official version on this one is that we are Copilot. We are not pilot. And if you want Copilot to take your job, then it will become the pilot seat. It's your responsibility to vet the code being generated. We are there to help you. We will generate the code based on the comments, based on the direction that you are giving us. For example, if I want to have a function that has error handling, that has no SQL injection and anything. So if I be more specific and the more security already in my code presented, it will match that standard. So if you want to have more secure code, I mean, also, if a novice programmer, a very new beginner, it needs to be seasoned sometime. I mean, in the future, it will be a very seasoned guy, and that is exactly the path of learning. Everybody has a learning curve, and with the GitHub Copilot, this curve will be much more easier. Once you're writing a code, GitHub Copilot chat will also explain you each and everything. Um, what we expect from developers now to educate themselves, read what has been generated. Just don't be, I mean, if we are doing 80% of your work to generate the code and write the code for you, but we do expect 20% from you to educate yourself. What has been generated, have a look at that code, ask Copilot and read what the documentation it has generated, because that will also help you to understand. So that's the way I would say. And definitely, yes, hallucination is there. Code sometimes generated can be buggy, and for that reason you are in the pilot, you are the programmer, you have to make an educated decision here. So you are in the pilot seat.
Okay, I
Hi,
think
Zeeshan.
probably we will take the
Uh,
one more question because I know Zeeshan has to jump into another meeting. So our 1 hour is already finished. So I will suggest, probably
I
one
have
or
just one
maximum two
question.
more questions. Yeah, please.
Yeah, hi Zeeshan, Usman here. So first of all, the session was very informative and very useful, of course. The features you mentioned in the session were quite the common scenarios in our developer life. So of course, this will help us out. And being a front-end developer, I would like to ask that if there is something like if we have a UI screen, like if there is a design, can